At this time, we'll call to order the regular meeting of the Plan Commission on August 25th, 2025. Kelly, roll please.
Mayor Boyd.
I'm here.
Citizen Member Bush.
I am here.
Citizen Member Higgins.
Here.
Citizen Member Raymaker.
Here.
Citizen Member Schilling. Alderperson Hanson.
Here.
Alderperson P-Rock.
Here.
Thank you. I'm just not sure on Grant, so I don't know what to say regarding that one. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the June 23rd, 2025 Plan Commission meeting. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. Discussion or comments? We have none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, public comment on matters not on the agenda. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Plan Commission. Anyone in person, you guys are here for something, right? Okay. Anyone in person or virtually have any public comment on matters not on the agenda? Now's your time to speak. I'm talking to virtual land now. We'll just jump to the third and final time. Anyone has any public comment on matters not on the agenda, please just state your name. All right. Up next, item 4, consideration and possible action for a zoning map amendment to remove PDD overlays from 122 parcels, generally located east of Lawrence Drive, north from Garroman Drive, and west from American Boulevard. This is going to Peter.
Thank you. This is a process that we're going to be going through a couple of times, probably throughout the next year or so, to remove unnecessary PDD overlays from our zoning map. Those are those colored black stripes you see over property on our zoning map. We oftentimes use it to identify properties that have special rules or regulations. And what I'm doing is I'm going through and identifying the ones that don't really have any rules or regulations, or the rules and regulations are now expired and are no longer necessary. So this petition is to remove the PDD overlay from 7 different platted areas. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the map. Which makes it look like it could become very complicated, but it really is a PDD that was created in 2 phases. There's a PDD that was created in 2004, and then there was a PDD that was created in 2018, all in the area of Garrity's Glen. I'm going to zip back to this one for the part that was created in 2004. At the time, the proposal was to allow for higher densities, and as you can see, a lot of this really just became one-family residential. There are 2 properties that have 2-family residential, and the eastern end is part of the business park. The only other element of the PDD was establishing the zoning district in 2004 when the PDD was established. The PDD overlay provides no other benefits or detriments to these property owners. They follow the standard zoning code that is in place today. So for those areas of 1 through 6, we would suggest that just simply be removed. Then the area number 7 is what is known as Garrity's Glen South. Some of you might remember back around 2018 and 2019, that's when this subdivision came in. And the petitioner at that time, or the developer at that time, established reductions for street frontage, minimum lot sizes, and interior side yard setbacks because we were operating under the older zoning code. When we rewrote the zoning code in 2023, it kind of eliminated the reductions that they were asking for and actually makes the PDD more restrictive than if they were operating off of the zoning code itself. So in talking to the developer that created the original PDD overlay, they are actually in support of removing it, and we did notify all of the property owners. We did have a question or 2, but nobody outright saying that they were objecting to this removal. Same for the other area in 2004. We did have a couple of questions, but nobody objecting to the request. So planning staff recommends approval of this request with no conditions, because you can't put conditions on a zoning petition.
No conditions. Thank you. Questions, comments, motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have motion by Alderperson Hanson, seconded by Mark. Discussion or comments? All right, seemed pretty straightforward. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, consideration and possible action for zoning map amendment from BP2 Business Park 2 District to PUD Planned Unit Development District at 2121 American Boulevard, Fortune Avenue, Cherry Lane, 2107 American Boulevard, and 450 Fortune Boulevard, parcels WD-1040, WD-1041/1, WD-1041-2, WD-1042, and WD-1043. Peter.
Thank you. Just so we don't confuse this with the topic that we were talking about for the last agenda item, the last one was a PDD. This is a PUD. It is not an overlay. This is an actual zoning district category request. What is happening at this site is the petitioner has been asking to do some development and expansion on these 5 parcels, and they're running into some snags with how setbacks are working with what they're trying to do, because there are 5 individual parcels there inside that boundary. The primary thing they're trying to do is have some outdoor storage and trucking and transportation terminal areas in the back of their buildings, and the property lines are kind of causing chaos for their driveways and requirements for screening against every single property line. So what we did is we worked with them to establish a PUD, which is very similar to when we did a master plan with, like, say, St. Norbert College and the Melville Cultural Center. In this case, it's a PUD. When we took a look at it, we identified that there are about 17 things that are different from standard BP2 zoning, which is the zoning district that these 5 properties are at right now. I don't know if you would like me to go through each of those 17. It is included in your meeting packet. Within the report, that table that is in the report is the list of all 17. I don't know if you want me to go through each of the 17 or just ask if you have questions about any specific item within.
Anybody want to go through all of them? Anything that kind of just stands out that you think you should mention that we should hear about, or are they pretty standard?
The first part, I could just kind of quickly summarize what it is. The first couple of items really relate to the 5 parcels, and what we're going to do is we're going to treat them as if it is almost like it's one parcel, and just make the interior property lines disappear. And I think that's the best example was this graphic in your packet, where you can see the kind of blue outline that's representing all of the setbacks around the exterior boundary, not a setback in the interior. Then the next comes where they talk about loading spaces and trucking and transportation terminals. I'll just go to this graphic. This is identifying in green the spaces where those outdoor storage and trucking and transportation terminals can be located on the property. As you can see, it does cross over some of those interior property lines. The third portion to that is the element of screening requirements. The way our code is written right now, this green area needs to be screened from every single property line. We took a look at it from the vantage point of what happens when you get so far away from the road that you start having a hard time being able to see what is actually in that location, and should it need to be screened when it gets to that point. So we established an area that is 300 feet away from each of the 3 right-of-ways. So that's why you can see this area right here is not green against Fortune Avenue. And then there is American Boulevard. There's this stripe here that is not green. And then there's the area here against Red, I'm forgetting the name of the street. Red Maple. Thank you, everyone. So it's kind of demonstrating that 300-foot range. So if somebody did put a trucking and transportation terminal in that area, or an outdoor storage area in those areas, they would need to screen it. If they're more than that 300 feet away, those zones do not need to be screened. That's probably one of the most significant changes in this set of requests. Then let me just skip on down to the next.
Peter, does this cause any issues in the event of a change in ownership? Because you've got 3 separate owners, right?
This is establishing the zoning district, so it applies to the property, not to a specific property owner.
Okay.
This petition was made by one authorized representative who was in contact with all of the property owners, so this actually is kind of a multi-owner application.
Yeah, they're working together. I mean, it's impressive to see that, but, okay, thank you.
Yeah, the easier solution to this probably would have been to combine all 5 parcels, but there are, I think, out of the 5 parcels, 3 separate owners or LLC ownership names, so they couldn't combine the parcels or go in that direction. Then let's see. Then the next was establishing how street tree landscaping will apply when you make one large parcel. This is in the case that they do, say, a building expansion that is next to American Boulevard. It probably shouldn't trigger them having to install street trees on Fortune or on Red Maple. So it's identifying that the street that is closest to the development is the street that they have to take care of their landscaping. Then there's a couple of things that just kind of clarifies how signage will work when you're dealing with one large community parcel versus 5. Then the last thing is, I think I have it right here, the establishment of some temporary parking. They are planning in their long-term planning to build a larger scale employee parking lot kind of in the southeast corner of this property. That is not built yet. So they do and would like to utilize some temporary parking on existing paved surfaces. And this establishes a timeline through to October of 2027 for that temporary parking. At that time, those temporary parking lots either need to be brought into the status of a properly designed and landscaped parking lot, or they need to discontinue being used. So
Yeah, how do you monitor that? Is that yours and Dan's job to stay on top of that?
That's kind of what we would do.
Okay. Right.
We set up calendar reminders based off of whenever an item gets approved with a certain timeline on it, so that we get a notification leading up to that termination period or expiration period.
Yeah. So yes, oftentimes I'll actually set 2 timers for myself, one for that day and one for a couple of months before. So if I'm kind of realizing it doesn't seem like they're stopping using their temporary parking lot, I'll reach out and say, hey, you've got only X number of months to
Give them a heads
redesign
up.
your parking lot or stop using it. Kind of be warned. And that's how we address that.
Thanks.
So that kind of in a nutshell is everything. So staff does recommend approval of this PUD district. This is the first time we are utilizing PUD. It was kind of invented with our 2023 zoning ordinance, and this is the first applicant that is actually going to utilize the option of potentially having a PUD zoning district. So we as staff do recommend approval.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, just, with it bordering the Southern Bridge bypass, I mean, are there any issues or any concerns with what you're doing here?
Red Maple?
Related to Red Maple?
Nothing under here that would preclude Southern Bypass. We are working with the applicant on other issues related to Southern Bypass, which is access points, and that is included in here. But nothing being approved here tonight would negatively impact the Southern Bridge route.
Very good. Thanks.
Good, thank you. So this is very unique, though. We haven't had something like this come across your desk.
I would say
We'll call this a creative solution.
I'm going to go into a little bit of a history lesson here. Prior to
Great.
2010, we were inappropriately using PDDs as PUDs, meaning we were thinking they were standalone zoning districts when our ordinance was actually an overlay district. And so when we adopted ordinances back then, we really more or less gutted previous PDDs because there wasn't a lot of standards to them. That's why Peter and I are going back through and cleaning a lot of them up now. But in general, this is the first time that we've done a PUD, and it's really meant for this purpose, where we have a unique situation, common owners, one business taking up a lot of that space, but under common or different ownership situations. And as a result, we have an ordinance that is not allowing a business to grow and causing a potential challenges with development, and this is a good use of this tool. We don't like to use it very often because it's not meant to be the tool you use every day. There are some communities who use it monthly, and I do not recommend it. So, but this is our first attempt at it.
So if a business sells sometime in the future, because there's 3 businesses right there, this is set in stone.
3 owners. There's multiple
owners.
businesses in that space. There's three property owners. They're all agreeing to have one applicant submit on this behalf, and therefore this will become the ordinance. If one of those businesses or property owners sells, they are buying into the conditions that exist today or that will exist.
Yeah, it's just like the zoning district underneath your house, being a residential zoning district. If you buy or sell your house, that zoning district stays. Same thing with this PUD. That zoning district will stay no matter who owns that property.
And you stated in here that the PUD replaces zoning regulations.
Yes,
So
and if there is a component of the zoning regulation that is not specifically called out in the PUD document that I shared with you,
it reverts back.
it will fall back to the standard zoning ordinance that's in effect at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Again, it's a very creative and I think wise use of this new PUD. I'd make a motion to approve the request for a zoning map amendment to change the request to a PUD and then the other language in as well. And you said there's no conditions, I believe, that are attached? Oh, the second.
It's a zoning petition, so there are no conditions, correct?
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Shane. Additional discussion or comments? Looks like we have none. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6. All good? Consideration and possible action for a new 12-foot wide gas easement at the south and east ends of 530 Grant Street, parcel WD-98. Peter.
I'm trying to get up to my page. I think this one's a little bit self-explanatory. It is the request for a new easement to be created, as you can see on the map that I've put up on the screen. It's the red line that on the east end of the community center. Apparently, our own Public Works was doing some work in Grant Street, and it kind of got in the way of where this gas line would be inside the right-of-way, so they did need to move it onto our city-owned property. And this is the formal request to create that easement for the WPS gas line.
Well, that sure makes sense. Questions, comments, motion?
Just, I had a question, regarding the actual easement. I'm assuming our city attorney looked at the indemnification language or did they draft it?
Actually, there was no indemnification language in the original version, and our city attorney asked for that to be added.
Okay, good, thank you.
She's a good one. Other questions or comments? Do we get a motion?
I need one.
I'll make a motion to approve the new 12-foot wide gas easement at the south and east ends of 530 Grant Street.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Brenda. Additional discussion or comments? We have none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Do you guys like the new TVs up there? These are all new.
Yeah.
Yeah, they redid the entire system and the screens and everything, so.
Oh,
They're a little
all
bigger.
They are bigger,
That's
brighter,
what they're
better resolution, and then the screens as well, because they have new, the video projector things are new too. It's exciting, isn't it?
I just look.
Yeah.
Impressive.
It was for the scene challenge for you folks up here, so, yeah, pretty much for Devin. All right, I guess I'll move on. That was exciting. Just thought I'd change things up a little bit here. Item 7, discussion about the proposed comprehensive plan update draft chapters, introductory and people chapters.
I'm wondering if we might want to skip to item number 8.
To wait for,
until Dan returns to the room.
Little Dan to come back there. All right. Item 8, discussion about site plans received since June of 2025 Plan Commission meeting and review the status of recently approved development projects. Peter.
This is our standard, almost usually end of meeting item where we give you the opportunity to ask questions about any site plans that we have that are under review right now.
Well, since Dan's not here, I want you guys to think of something and give it great thought. Okay, you have time to look.
I have one.
Alderperson Hanson.
At the last meeting, the mayor asked about the HVAC systems by the new Schneider School of Business, particularly the screening. I see they have put up some trees or evergreens, but they're still kind of short.
Yes.
So are they in compliance now or no?
At this point, they are not in compliance. The way our landscaping code is written, there is kind of a grace period where they are allowed about a half a year to allow vegetation to reach that magic height point. We did have that conversation with the staff from St. Norbert College, identifying that they are not quite to the height of the generator that it's trying to cover, and the decision was made to let the vegetation grow until next year rather than ripping it out right away to see if it does grow to the needed height, and if it doesn't next year, we would have that removed and then replaced with something else.
Is there any other pieces of equipment that need to be screened over there?
That generator is located to the northwest of their dumpster location. That's the kind of the brick area that you see that's screened. To the northeast, there are two other mechanical equipment boxes that are not screened at all. We are in the process of working with the St. Norbert College folks to make sure that gets screened also.
Okay.
What has happened in the 2 months since we talked about that last, they have gone through about 3 contact people for me to be working with. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was back to square one working with somebody new on that topic.
Okay.
Well, they're on it.
Keep trying. They're on it. Yep. Keep trying.
Good question. Anyone have any other questions regarding any of the projects? All right. Seems that Dan is back, so we're going to go backwards to item 7, discussion about the proposed comprehensive plan draft update draft chapters, introductory and people chapters. Love that description.
And people.
Tell us about the people chapters.
Yes. So, all right. So I'm going to switch slides here, or PowerPoints. I got it.
Mine's not good.
No, sorry, Peter. All right. So really what I want to get to is I'm going to do a little bit of overview every time we have one of these. So if you remember during the zoning rewrite process, we went through a couple chapters at a time. But there are audience members out there who may only be interested in 1 or 2 chapters, and so I'd like to do a little bit of introduction each time. So if you remember when we started this process a couple years ago, and then as I brought it up in June, we've sort of turned the comprehensive plan process on its head. We've said, okay, I know your standard process is X, Y, Z, but we have a strategic vision plan. We have guiding principles already at the city. Let's not throw those out just to meet state requirements. Let's find a way to have state requirements meet our vision. And so that's what we've sort of done in this process. And so we've taken the opportunity to use the strategic vision from 2018, place it in, I guess, organize it in certain buckets. And this is what we talk about here today. So the first bucket that we'll be talking about today is people. And people incorporates a couple things. So as I go through here, we'll get to it. But as part of our identification of what the comprehensive plan is, it's meant to be the guiding document for the community. It's meant to be that future vision. It will not encapsulate everything. I always tell people that comprehensive is probably a nomenclature that planners use too much because you cannot plan for everything, just like a zoning code can't anticipate everything. So it's meant to be our guiding principles, our guiding elements, and what we try to strive to achieve. And so in the document, the first part of the document that you see today that identifies what is included in a comprehensive plan, what it strives to do, how is it used. And so there's about 14 bullet points here that I'm not going to read off, but it's in the plan, and it's really meant to be the guiding principles for how to use the document. The other important part about this document is, and I'm going to show you 2 examples. This was our 1974 comprehensive plan, and you see this. This is 1984. This is 2010. And you see the difference, is there's a lot of jargon and data that ends up coming into our plans. And that happened primarily because the state funded how comprehensive plans were done. These were done privately, meaning your own municipality budgets. When the smart growth laws came out in 2000, the grants that were available to us and communities around the state were vast. And the city received in what would today's dollars be a $525,000 grant to do a comprehensive plan. And a lot of counties went through that took the lead effort on it. Brown County did that for a lot of communities. Not everyone, because Green Bay went off and did their own. But others all sort of went along the same time frame, which means a lot of stuff was a little repetitive. And I will tell you that is not unique to this region. It was not unique to anywhere. It was how it was done, because every community was trying to get a comprehensive plan done within at least the first 5 years. But the deadline was in 2010 was the deadline to have your comprehensive plan done. So we received a very large grant in 2003 and 2004 to do the comprehensive plan. In 2010, we spent about $12,000 to update it. And again, you went through a whole plan and then a real small update. There's no grant funding available to any communities anymore, so everyone's doing it on their own. And now we've sort of seen a shift in how comprehensive plans are done. They're coming back down again. They're meant to be more high level and let your long-term, I guess you say, sub-area plans do a lot of the heavy lifting. Let your comprehensive outdoor rec plan do a lot of the heavy lifting. You reference them back, but you let those other guiding documents do the heavy lifting, because they are meant to be the tools that you're using. So a TID plan, a comprehensive outdoor rec plan, a bid operating plan. If you have an economic development strategic plan, like some communities do, you let that. Or even if you have sub-area plans like a cultural district master plan, a downtown master plan, you let those documents do the heavy lifting, and this is meant to be the culmination of that. And that's what we've done in this approach. We've taken a lot of the fluff and a lot of just the jargon out of it, and we've put that in the appendices when it comes to data, when it comes to resources, and we've taken this opportunity to give the public a more readable document, a more legible document, and a more visually appealing document. Because I will tell you, in most comprehensive plans, for the first 20 years of them were written by planners for planners, meaning there was a executive summary, there was background data, there was some maps, there was recommendations, and then there was appendices. And yet the recommendations are pretty much what the elected officials, the boards and commissions, and the public are most interested in, not all this stuff in the front end of it. So as a result, we've sort of turned that on its head and really put the recommendations in after a short introductory of the existing conditions, and put a lot of the data and a lot of the market study in the appendices, where you can reference it if you want, but we've really focused on the important nuggets and synthesized it down to where it has to be. So that's why I want to say that what the comprehensive plan is in this case is quite a bit different. All the data isn't different, or all the principles aren't different. It's still an update from the old one, but we've synthesized it down. And we've taken a great deal of effort, and the Plan Commission members who are on the steering committee the past few years have been a part of that one. But Smith Group and staff have done a tedious job of sifting through all of the recommendations and conditions. So moving forward, some of our challenges, I talked about them: document sizes, funding at this point, and incorporating past documents. That becomes a challenge, but that's a challenge every community is facing at this time. De Pere is not unique to it. So we try to incorporate as many pieces of those as possible, but at high levels, and then reference back to say something like, implement the recommendations of the housing plan, implement the recommendations of the comprehensive outdoor rec plan is always sort of the end piece of each one of these segments. So I just want to make sure that's out there. So as again, I mentioned, our jumping off point was the strategic plan and branding goals. We put sort of the hierarchy elements of equitable and inclusiveness, connected and accessible, livable and vibrant, and sustainable and resiliency. If you kind of take the vision and goals from the branding plan and sort of pull it back and get it down to its bones, you can put almost things into those buckets: equitable and inclusive, connected and accessible, livable and vibrant, and sustainable and resilient. So what does that mean for De Pere? So what does it mean to be equitable and inclusive? And so as we pull back and we take those 9 required elements of the comprehensive plan, we've put them in 3 separate buckets: people, places, and systems. People being our economic development chapter and our cultural resources chapter. Places being our land use chapter, our loose downtown chapter that will reference back to a downtown master plan, and our housing chapter. And our systems is our transportation systems, our natural resource systems, our intergovernmental systems, and those types of components. And so those are, I guess you say, the loose buckets that we put things into. And it's really kind of showing that we're kind of hitting on the elements of what makes a community, people, places, and systems. And so we've sort of organized them that way. And there is a summary chart in the intro plan that documents if somebody ever wants to find out where's your required element, you can look in this section. So what does equitable and inclusive mean for De Pere? You can read what some of those bullet points are, but to be equitable and inclusive for people, it's access to fresh food, access to mental health care, access to quality jobs and educational opportunities, all of which we strive to be in De Pere. Equitable and inclusive for place is you're providing an affordable and diverse housing stock. Not everything can be affordable, but you do want a diversified housing stock in your community. Accessible, inclusive and accessible public places, and future land uses that will support not just who we are today, but who we want to be as a community. So we want to be more business, we want to be more residential. Those are finding their way into the document. And from a system standpoint, do you have a system for reliable public transportation? We heard from Patty a couple meetings ago at the council. She documented. In fact, I think her stuff is still over here from transit. You're also providing opportunities for non-motorized vehicles. You're providing safe environments for neighborhoods and inclusive neighborhoods. Yeah, sorry. And then we get to connected and accessible. What does that mean? We're welcoming. We're ready for people. We're ready for strong civic engagement. We are, in a places standpoint, we have neighborhoods that aren't isolated. We have neighborhoods that have access to public amenities, to resources, to downtowns. We have systems of complete streets, and I would say De Pere's done a great job of making sure we have complete streets that include bike lanes, sidewalks, parking. We have a really great emphasis on not providing curvilinear subdivisions with cul-de-sacs as much as we used to. We provided parks that are accessible for all abilities, and so we have accessible parks, and we're adding more throughout the years. And you've provided a growth for your school districts and for other institutions that are anchors to your community. The next ones are livable and vibrant and sustainable and resilient. I'm not going to go through them all, but you can sort of see how if you're to add metrics to these things and measurable metrics, the things that you want to try to achieve, and these are just some of those hierarchy principles. So livable and vibrant, sustainable and resilient are those other buckets. And so for the general public who may be watching, that is in the draft document, which is online. It's also available if you just ask staff, and we can walk you through what those mean. So as I mentioned, our document structure is sort of located around those three buckets, but in the sections that have been removed, we took out or relocated the market survey data and the survey results, and those are in the appendices, which you'll see at a later date. We also had intersection improvements, prescribed intersection improvements in the old plan, which some people glob onto, but that was 20 years ago, and so we've chosen to pull that back, and again, let the changes of technology and the changes in transportation be what they are, and let the Board of Public Works and others make the appropriate improvements to those intersections when the time comes. The pedestrian and bike plan is in the current comprehensive plan, but not being planned for in this current version, so we're taking it out, and it'll be an appendix to the new plan until we can do a separate standalone bike and ped plan by itself. And then the implementation chapter will also be at that end of the document. It won't be in one of those three buckets. And so you'll see some of that implementation stuff here today. Again, the required elements, where if you want to find where the required element is necessary, it is in one of these sections of the code, or of the document, sorry. So that gets us to our sort of chapter discussion for here tonight. You saw in the document, you saw in the packet, it came out today, but it's also on the webpage. It was also posted, so I apologize that it wasn't in the packet. But you'll notice that as we get through it, you'll see that all the strategies are sort of listed following a goal, an objective statement, and policies or strategies and recommendations. Policy, strategies, and recommendations are in the narrative are lumped together, and it's just because they sort of ebb and flow with each other. Some may be a require, some may be a consider, and that's kind of a differentiation factor between a policy strategy and just a recommendation. So, but I want to say that those strategies are sort of included as one core component. So you'll see what that looks like, and I have copies if we want it all in table format, so it's easier to see it all on one page, or if you want to just kind of, we can go through the draft document as well and work our way that way. So I'll pass out.
Just a typo is underneath goal, it says objection. I assume that means objectives.
Goal.
That dash under goal,
I would have objection.
Oh, yeah.
that should be objectives.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, we have,
Objection.
yeah, objective, not objection.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Here's a sort of summary of everything in one
Oh, these are
format, so it's a table format, so it's a little.
Thank you.
If you don't want to flip, we'll be. And we have relaunched the Hub website, so all this information is on the Hub website, plus a spot for public engagement collection that will be added actually this week.
To the city website or to development services?
It'll be, actually, it's a separate owned standalone Hub website. I'm working with Andy to get a short link to it, so it's like, it'll be something like perewi.gov/comp plan.
Oh.
And it'll be something like that.
All right.
It's run on our GIS platform, so we have a little bit more flexibility in adding mapping and a couple other things to it. So that's the reason why it's done there and not straight on the city webpage. Sure. So I'm able to go through them all individually if we like, but here's an example of what's in front of you here. Here you go, Peter. Example of what's in front of you, which is to identify in the leftmost column is the goal that's stated in the text. The business attraction, business creation, or whatever it is sits in the objectives, and then the policies and strategies and recommendations are in that kind of larger box. And this was part of an exercise that we'll be having with the public at our next open house, which will be then if they want to rank them. There's a lot to go through here, so the public may not have an opportunity to rank them at the meeting. They want to take them home. They want to drop them. They want to do it online. They can do it there as well. So I have them all set up in the public forum at this point. So we have two chapters here, which is the economic development and the cultural resources sections if we'd like to go through them. I'll let you know how we got to this point is over the past few years. The steering committee between 22, 23 reviewed all of this information, heard from Smith Group and staff, heard from them. We went through and revised it. We have since taken the document from Smith Group at this point, and now we've been making tweaks with the most recent steering committee. So I appreciate Mark and Brenda for participating and providing valuable feedback, as well as our partners from throughout the city, including our chamber members, our bid board members, and a couple others that all represent a variety of other organizations. So with that, I can go through them individually. I don't know if we want to go through. There's about, I think, in this round, about 50 different strategies, 50 to 60 different strategies, and around 10 different goals and objectives. So how would we like to move forward?
Folks, what do you want to do?
Well, I'll just make the comment that with the process, that you've selected, buying into the process is critical, and how that document structure will flow, because staying at a higher level and compressing the plan, theoretically, the vision, the values aren't going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the higher level goals and things like that. So it's just when you start getting into the tactical things that those will change, and then of course implementation pieces and metrics that go with that.
And our goal is to make this about a 5-year update every 5 years and kind of get back to it more than we have in the past. Because now staff holds the document, we can do a lot more with it in the future. So, yeah. So if in case the goals and visions do change in the future.
Right.
And if you want to take this home with you, you want to provide comment to us. This is not the last time that you will see these two sections. Next round, you'll see the places section, and the round after that, you'll see the system section, and then the round after that, you'll see them all. So if you wish to provide comment to us, Alderperson Hanson, you provided some comments today, and I started making some of those tweaks. Some were already made in here already, so it's good. So thank you for some of those catches. And the steering committee did make some tweaks and changes to some things, shorten them out, actually added a few things as well. Staff added a few more for the steering committee's review. So again, you can take it back with you, you can provide comment, drop it off, or you can even just make submittals to the online portal when it gets launched this week.
Do you guys want to do that to digest it more? Have some of you looked at this ahead of time?
Digest.
Okay.
Yep.
Because everyone's
Yep.
probably at a different.
That's fine.
Place.
Kelly, do you want to send out a digital copy of this too, in case anybody loses this one? But it is online too. So.
Yeah.
Alderperson Hanson, was your hand up? I thought I saw your hand up.
No.
Okay. I mean, you got a lot of input in this morning. I can't imagine what else you have to offer. Possibly more.
I do have a few things, but
But did you miss what he offered this morning? What he said about, he made a correction. You didn't spot that one, did you?
no, I did not. Well, that was on the PowerPoint.
Oh, that wasn't the thing.
That wasn't in the.
Ah,
Wasn't
you
in
would
the,
have got that one.
Yeah, I would have.
Would
Yeah.
have got that.
Well, this document you handed out, I mean, is very efficient. And thank you for doing that. I mean, it's nice to go through the actual pages of the plan because you got pictures and things like that,
Yeah.
maps, but this really, you can see the flow of the strategy and the,
What you
Yeah,
don't see on here that will be coming is staff's recommendation for, there'll be 2 columns here, one of which is what most planners do, which is have $1 sign, $2 signs, $3 signs to sort of implement or kind of identify, is this a costly investment? Is this a non-costly investment? And then a targeted time frame for what the steering committee and what staff feels is a great kind of starting point. Is this a 1 to 2 year time frame, a 3 to 5, a 5+ time frame? So that'll be added after we get through some of these, because we don't want to spend a ton of time if some of these things are to get dropped off through the process.
So under policy and strategies and recommendations, when we go across, some of these will not survive. Is that kind of what happens as this whole process continues?
I would say the majority of them are going to survive because this is what you see in front of you is
just a priority
has
that
come
will-
from the steering committee.
Okay.
So these are changes that the steering committee requested. Staff went and put our heads together, made those changes. If there would be changes, it's going to be by this group or by the council. And what we will do is we'll report back any public comment that doesn't agree with anything here for your review and to say, should this be added, and back to the steering committee.
So hypothetically, someone could just grab one thing here and say, this just doesn't really
Yeah.
mesh in my world, whatever. I mean, whatever it is. And then that would
If
elicit more dialogue or discussion
Potentially.
or consideration.
If
Okay.
one of you wish to say this does not work for us, we want to remove it, that's a dialogue between this organization, this board, and then you can figure out to keep or remove it. We are not going to remove anything from this because this is the steering committee recommendation. Any removals will come from this body based off of feedback from the plan commission or from the public, I mean.
So, because this is important, but timing wise, you don't want us to digest this and look it over for the next month. You'd rather us to
Well, the
kind of
sooner
move things along.
Sooner the better, because
Okay.
our
I'm
target
just wondering.
our target is January adoption.
Oh,
And
okay.
so each month, next month we'll have people, next month we'll after that we'll have transportation. The month after that we'll have the entire thing. If you would like to move forward with it after that, there's a 30-day comment period that has to happen, and then it gets up for adoption, likely in the January timeframe.
Okay, so you'd like to have, if
Yeah.
there's any things you want to offer, get to you guys in the next couple of weeks, you know?
Yep.
Right? Fair enough. And you said there's a portal we could use too?
Yeah, I'll get that. Kristen and I have relaunched that, our GIS manager. We've relaunched it. We're making some tweaks to the page still. There's public engagement exercises on it. If you want, you can just straight do it on the public engagement part of it, and then I'll bring the results back at that time. Or you could just submit comments directly to us.
Is everyone okay with the path we're taking here then? Where you can kind of look at this and then offer insight, advice?
Am I getting that old, or is this font really small?
It's so small.
yeah, it's-
Okay.
So small.
Oh, yeah.
The hard part is when you make tables like this, it's just the challenge.
Gotta fit it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, 2 questions. Yes, you are really old, but yes.
Yes, thank you.
Didn't get the last one. Yeah, it is small.
And that's what the text is much larger font. So if you go through in the text, it's much larger font. So
Oh, is that supposed to make it better?
yes,
Yes, it is.
this is the implementation table. The strategies for the general public consumption is going to be in the narrative here. This is for staff, and this is our implementation table.
It's
So.
really
but
fast.
what's nice with this document is you can fire
Read.
right down it and see the flow.
Yep.
And how the dots connect. So.
And if you do have a comment of why something isn't here, it may come in a later chapter, so just make a note of that one. We've had a couple of people asking about the economic development side. Well, why didn't you add more stuff about downtown? We have a whole downtown chapter
Right.
or sub-chapter.
So
So,
then it wouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to comment on it, please feel free.
So I guess I just do have one other question then. The policies and strategies and recommendation columns. And then kind of you have how you impact them and do that. They're combined. Is that meant to be where they're both pulled together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where the policies and strategies and recommendations you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's because sometimes it's a policy and sometimes it's a recommendation, and how you word it really sort of changes some of that. So if you notice in there, some of the require, mandate, prohibit, those become policies and strategies. The recommendations are typically when you say promote, consider, support, do all those things. But they sort of, as Mark said, they sort of ebb and flow together. That if you do add another level of this is a policy and this is a recommendation, this table gets even wonkier. Yeah. So that's the reason why in the document as well as in here they're under one component.
Okay.
Just thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a chance to think. Think, people. Do you think we are, as we go through this and stuff, we are competitive, like for business attraction, with other municipalities? I know we're going to learn from all this, and I know this is just a comprehensive plan, and it's not it's a guiding document. But do you think we are generally?
Well, first, I'd like to compare us to ourselves. From a business standpoint, I don't think we've grown faster in a diversity of business than we have in a long time. What I mean by that is we have tremendous business park growth. We have tremendous growth in our commercial corridors. We have tremendous growth in our downtown. It's a very diversified growth, which I don't think everybody can speak to. Not every community can say that they're doing that. And as I mentioned, our business parks are just booming here at this point. And then we even have a good amount of residential growth happening. You'll start to see some revised plans come in for some projects, or Peter will present them for some new multifamily that's being proposed. So when I look at that from a business attraction standpoint, business attraction just isn't being a welcoming community. It's how are you being welcoming? Is it being welcoming to the business in terms of financial incentives? Is your code ready? Is your land ready for development? But two, do you have places for their employees to be, grow, family, create place for their employees? That's one of the bigger challenges that we have, and I would say De Pere is leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of communities. I'm not going to single anybody out, but having two sought-after school districts, having a well-established park system, having all those components really makes it from a business attraction standpoint, because that way you can have customers and residents who want to be where you are.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Like the only thing I see that's kind of holding all communities back, childcare and child providing services is the one thing that we're not unique to.
Nope. And I would say that there needs to be a regional and state approach to these challenges.
Totally agree. That's how we're approaching it.
And you're starting to see that from the state, obviously putting more money into their budget for childcare resources. But you're also seeing
businesses also.
You're starting to see chambers and businesses starting to partner up and say, "Hey, do we use this as a tool for our employees first, and then fill out with the community after that?" And we know of one in our region who's attempting that at this point. So you'll start to see some of that hopefully in the next couple of years. Actually, so if childcare was profitable, we wouldn't have a childcare shortage. Mm-hmm. The market would take care of that.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I know the steering committee talked about is, well, we have some great momentum. The amount of lots available for residential expansion is something that there's strategies and tactics that are out there, but it is tightening up now.
Yes, very much so. Our borders are coming closer and closer to our development, I guess you would say.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Other questions, comments? Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, Dan, on page 13, it says that funding for a portion of the plan was provided by the Wisconsin Department of Administration, Office of Land Information Services. Mm-hmm. Just wondering about that, since you were mentioning that the state no longer is providing funding.
Well, the reason why that's there is because the majority of a lot of it is from this original document, which came from there. So we can pull it out if you want. That is the component of how this document started. If we want to say we threw the baby out with the bathwater and said it was completely funded that way, we can do that. But a lot of the text or a lot of the content is similar. It's just reworded and synthesized down. Mm-hmm. I do think it's probably more important for us to mention that, but also say that this update is being funded solely by us. I'm absolutely in support of including that.
Okay. On page 31, there's like employment status, poverty rate, key spending facts. It appears that that's national data. I'm just wondering if you can clarify that.
Sometimes our limitations are that. So hold on one second. Peter, can you,
31.
I don't have that
Is that the
one.
next document
Can
we
I
have?
seal that one?
Mine
Sure.
stops.
You need page 30?
Yep, thank
I'm
you.
gonna try to find it.
I want to pull it up here.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
This is
Okay.
what Kelly just printed. From.
31, and you're saying,
Has like poverty rate, key spending facts, unemployment rate.
no, that's De Pere based. That's
Economic
just coming from the American,
People- economic development.
American
Okay,
Community
thanks.
Survey Estimates, DPO3. That's
Okay,
De
I got
Pere based.
So it is local.
It's just the data source that's being referenced there.
Isn't it?
Okay.
Yep. So the way that the census works is, for those that don't know, the American Community Survey is like the periodic updates to the biannual census. And they come out every few years, depending on what community you're in. They're sort of on a rolling schedule. And so ours came out several years ago, I think ours came out in 22, 23. And then they'll do it again in a few years. They do periodic updates and extrapolations based off of their data models. So that's what that is.
The original draft had language about creating a historic walking tour. And I was just going to flag that has been created, and I do see it looks like that's been updated to
Yep.
just say maintain it now.
Yep.
So that's a good thing.
Yep. And then there's talk here about create a joint exhibition display within De Pere Historical Society and Mulva Center, highlighting historic sites within De Pere, celebrating and educating the history of the community. Just want to note, we have started doing some of that with the HPC, like we got signage up now in the 5 historic districts that are in residential neighborhoods. And then I wanted to also ask about, it talks here about public art on like the Claude Alloway Bridge, the roundabout. I assume that's the Broadway roundabout. I know we had some discussions about putting murals on the new Arthur Altmeyer Bridge. And I guess there's some questions about if DOT would approve it. So just wanted to flag that as well. I mean, we could also look at the Altmeyer Bridge in addition to Claude Alloway, but
We refer to it just as a Southern Bridge here at this point, right, Mayor?
okay.
Keep saying it.
Trying to speak it into existence.
There you go.
I was just with the executive this morning. I said a few times.
But yeah, just to flag that I think has some jurisdictional challenges where you have to get approval for that.
Okay.
And then on page 39, it had 2020 enrollment numbers for St. Norbert. Just wondering if we're able to get any more recent data on that.
Brenda, you had a little snicker there. Is that something?
It actually just came up. They actually have a number. I think I saw that in the paper. Did you not? I thought I saw a number
The
in the
article
paper.
mentions they don't provide this year's number.
You're saying that whatever I've seen is probably
So-
not accurate?
We could probably find a
We could,
newer year, I guess you would say, and probably do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in addition to that, in the top 10 employers, they're listed for
That's the other thing I was gonna
2024, so I assume that's going to have to change.
it's got it.
Well, that's the hard part is we don't.
I know. Yeah, you're not like,
That's me.
you're using that data that was
Yeah,
provided
that's
to
me
you.
digging and
Right.
trying to find them.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Since COVID, do you really consider somebody who is at United Health Group but who's working completely 100% remote a De Pere employee again?
To be in the
Yeah,
structure
to be
that they're in.
so
Yeah.
While it's there, it's probably relatively accurate. Is it top 10? Is it top 15?
Yeah.
We don't have that data. That number isn't directly reported to us, and it's not in ESRI. It's not in the U.S. American Fact Finder. Probably have to subscribe to some other data sources for it. Is it going to provide us with a lot more information than what's on here? Is it worth the squeeze? No.
Yeah,
I-
understand.
I don't worry. I made some updates to that one based off the information I could find. But
I mean, there's very good information in these things. I mean, really, really is. Alderperson Hanson, I don't know if were you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
I believe we got the updated map in the historic map as well as the narrative updated for you as well. Last time we had some comments on the narratives and the maps for the.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Peter was gracious enough to provide those summaries to me, so.
Anybody else? Questions? Is that good? All right, so we have homework.
Have homework.
Yes, and if you don't reply in a timely fashion, anyone on this board, we are replacing people starting next week, so take your time if you want.
But it's a good start, and I mean, the foundation that was built a couple of years ago, I mean,
It's good stuff.
you've picked it up seamlessly, so.
We did 8, right? So I'm going to go to item 9. But shouldn't we have future items? We don't have that on this one, do we?
No.
Well, then I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Well, before we do that, the gentlemen who were here, they didn't get a chance to speak. Who are they with?
Robinson Metal, and then Robinson Metal's consultant / contractor.
From the campus.
Okay, because the package that was put together that they prepared was outstanding, and I was remiss in not mentioning that while they were here.
I'll have a conversation with them tomorrow. I'll let them know that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was aware that they were, and I wasn't aware that they wanted to say anything. So yeah, didn't mean to
Yeah.
to dispel. But I did make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Shane. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.